Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome to an episode brought to you by my limited understanding of the Japanese language and a massive love for spiders. We are delving into a character that barely exists in any English language sources, so I have had to resort to Japanese ones. Today, we are talking about the spindly puppet and mysterious magician Kashin Koji. Now, when I say that this character does not exist in English, I do mean that. Research will turn up a character from Naruto who shares the same name, a plot point in the game Nioh 2, and given some time the same will be said about how they are depicted in Fate. After switching to searching for Japanese sources, I was happy to discover that there are barely any more resources there either. So, with this now being the most accessible English translation of their story patched together like a historical Japanese Frankenstein, I welcome you to join me down this path. Naturally, that also puts me in the situation where some things may be slightly inaccurate, and if you have more information, please feel free to share it in the comments. Anyway, let's get into it. Kashin Koji was a magician who lived during the time of Oda Nobunaga. The historical record is unsure of when they were born or when they died for that matter. A good chunk of the information I'm going to use comes from Goken's Yoshiyasugo Kaku. While Goken does not give a date of birth, he claims that Koji was born in modern-day Fukuoka. That said, others have speculated that he was born at or around the Kofukuji Temple in Nara. Despite the classification given to Koji in Fate, they were a magician rather than an assassin. The magic that Koji could perform would put even the brightest of Heian era onmyoji to shame. Most of what we know about Koji is through their supposed magic tricks, so that's going to be the bulk of this episode. It was believed that Kashin Koji was a priest at the Kofukuji Temple for a time before being known for magic. But then, one day decided to show off their magical prowess. Koji went to the Sarasawa Pond in the Kofukuji Temple grounds and gathered a crowd. Then, he took a pile of dead bamboo leaves and threw them into the pond. To the crowd's amazement, the leaves became fish and began swimming around the pond. One of the men claimed that this was all a trick, and so to prove to that man that his power was real, Koji had them remove a tooth with a toothpick and was able to make it hang in the air. I think. This bit did not translate well into English, so I apologize if it's a little bit off the mark. After this, he either created an illusion that the pond was overflowing and flooding, or that was a separate time. The text isn't exactly clear about it. This trick supposedly had Koji excommunicated from the temple, as use of foreign magic was outlawed, and it was believed that Koji had learned their magical abilities through Chinese texts that were held on the temple grounds. However, this gave Koji some notoriety and allowed them to continue to perform tricks for crowds both in public and at their home. As their fame grew and word of their magical prowess spread, Koji set out to join the likes of Oda Nobunaga as one of his retainers. They were granted an audience with Nobu to show how powerful they were, and they received fairly high praise from the conqueror. However, for an unknown reason, Koji was disallowed to join as a retainer. My own theory on this, as my sources are unclear, is that Nobu's retainers, or perhaps Nobu himself, saw the frighteningly powerful abilities of Koji that were able to trick even the most stalwart and quick-eyed samurai, and feared that Koji could easily sway Japan into whatever form that he saw fit. If they accepted Koji, then all it would take was a shift in mood to challenge Nobu's rule. So instead, they opted to keep Koji in their good graces, while also keeping him at an arm's length. Despite this, Koji would find himself in the middle of several of these Japanese reformers' affairs after this. Another event demonstrating his power was when he was summoned to be tested by Matsunaga Hisahide. Hisahide was a daimyo in direct opposition to Nobunaga and was the ruler of the Yamato region. Paraphrased, Hisahide said to Koji, "I have been through countless battles and seen countless people die. Do you think that you can make me feel terrible?" In response to this, Koji conjured up an apparition of Hisahide's wife who had died a few years earlier, and this caused the great warrior to tremble, either from grief or fear. Soon thereafter, Hisahide would commit seppuku and destroy his temple as an act of defiance after his castle was lost to Nobunaga. The connections that these two things have is in name only and should not be interpreted as Koji placing a curse on him. Eventually, Koji was summoned to have an audience with Toyotomi Hideyoshi. During this time, Hideyoshi had apparently done some digging into Koji's mysterious past and revealed that he knew certain information about Koji that was unknown to the public. For the record, I could not find what this secret was. But if you want to take the Fate interpretation at face value, it's that they were a puppet and not a person. Historically, I have no clue what this could have been. However, in retaliation, Koji summoned the apparition of Matsunaga Hisahide, who revealed an equally damning but historically unknown statement about Hideyoshi. In response to this, Hideyoshi had Koji imprisoned and supposedly executed. At least, he would have liked to. Supposedly, Koji was able to transform himself into a mouse and escape by riding away in the mouth of a kite. If there was a historical Kashin Koji, this is where they likely met their end, but as for their legend, we are not quite finished. After this escape, Koji painted a magnificent painting of hell that caught the attention of art appreciators from all around Japan. One of these people was Nobunaga himself, who offered a large sum of money for the painting. However, Likely due to the fact that one of his most prominent retainers had tried to kill him, Koji declined this offer. Undeterred, Nobu ordered that a group of his men steal the painting by any means, and after ambushing and killing the people who were carrying the painting, they presented it to Nobu. When the painted scroll was unfurled, it was revealed to be completely blank. Later, Koji appeared again preaching about his painting, despite supposedly being dead, and Nobu had one of Koji's retainers brought before him. The retainer told him that if he actually paid the amount that was requested, then the painting would go back to how it was supposed to be. So, Nobu gave the retainer 100 ryo, which are those Japanese golden ovals and worth about $120,000 in United States currency, in total for that sum, and sent the retainer away. And just like that, when he checked back again on the painting, it had become its old self. For his final trick that I am aware of, he was invited by avid Nobu hater Akechi Mitsuhide to enjoy some sake together and talk. They sat in a special room with a gorgeous folding screen depicting a lake. As the night went on, both became drunk and Koji offered to show his thanks to Mitsuhide, to which the latter agreed. With his hands, Koji made a beckoning sight to a boat painted on the folding screen, and to the astonishment of Mitsuhide, the picture started moving. It got closer and closer, and soon water from the screen began to fill the room. Soon, the boat itself came clean out of the folding screen and Koji got into it, took one of the oars, and began to row. Mitsuhide watched as the boat re-entered the folding screen and rode deeper and deeper into the image until it completely vanished. After this, Kashin Koji was never seen again in Japan. So that is one of the most insane accounts of a person who was attested in the historical record. But why was it so out there? I for one like to believe that there is magic in this world to a degree, but even this is going a little bit too far for me. Well, the reason for that may be because of the formatting in which it was written. The primary source that is attesting to the existence of Kashin Koji was something akin to a collection of entertaining ghost stories, but with a bit of historical veracity in them. To make a comparison, imagine that in 500 years' time, all records of John Malkovich were lost with the exception of the movie being John Malkovich. You would understand that he was an actor, very successful at his craft, was wealthy and had friends in high places, but then would also be presented with body snatching just being a part of his everyday routine, and these other mysterious people biting over control of his body. While historical fact would exist in the film in the form of several details, the insanity of the other parts make it an unreliable source on the life of John Malkovich. My assumption towards Kashin Koji is the same way. He was very likely a real priest turned magician during the era of Nobunaga who did seek to become one of his retainers. However, having a lack of real worth to Nobu, likely because it is noted that Koji was not stealthy in the slightest, and that if they were to get a job it would be for espionage, likely made Nobu reject the proposal. After this, people ran wild with their imaginations as to the reasons why they couldn't make it, and then all sorts of narratives are formed around them from there. At least to me, and how I have read and seen history play out, this seems to be the most likely reasoning as to why Koji's story is the way that it is. Regardless though, it is a fascinating tale and one that I hope that you have enjoyed. So thank you all so much for watching, I really do appreciate it. Let me know what you thought down in the comments, subscribe to catch these as they go up. If there is a character that you would like me to cover, let me know down there as well. Check the links below for the Discord, Twitch, and Twitter, but for now guys, keep your chin up, peace.